Hello and welcome to my channel. I found another interesting book online, and you can see the web address for the book where I'm at on the internet, and it is called Introduction to the American Criminal Justice System, and I'm at page 1.1 or section 1.1, Crime in the Criminal Justice System, Chanel Sanchez, and I just wanted to read a little bit. Theft as a child. The first lesson in crime and criminality I remember was when I was in second grade and stole something from a local drugstore. I thought that the bracelet was shiny and perfect. At first I remember wanting to try it on, but then I did not want to take it off. I had more questions than my Nana may have been ready to answer about why I did it and why I could not keep it. I had to take the bracelet back, which hurt because I loved it. Because of guilt or shame, I told my grandma what I did. Think about a time in your life when you have done something similar. Was this the first lesson in crime and criminality from the person you were raised by, such as a parent or grandparents? Did they teach you that what you did was a crime and hopefully how to correct this wrong at a young age? You were probably punished, and they may have consisted of helping out with more chores or losing your allowance to pay back what you stole. Imagine all the questions you may have for your parents at the moment. Why was it wrong? Why would happen to me if I what would happen to me if I did not tell you? What is a crime? Who decides what makes this a crime? What happens to me if I commit crime and get caught? What is my punishment? Why was it wrong when there were so many polishes there? Further, I had to help out around the house for the weekend. In exchange for all this, she did not tell my dad because she knew her punishment was sufficient, and to tell him may be excessive. She took a balanced approach to punishment, and I think this is why it was so effective. It was not too strict, it was not too complete, and I had to think about what I did. Most criminologists define crime as a violation of the laws of a society by a person or a group of people who are subject to the laws of that society's citizens. Thus, crime is defined by the state or federal government. Essentially, crime is what the law states, and a violation of the law stated in the statute would make actions criminal. For example, if someone murdered another individual in the process of stealing their automobile, most people would see this as a criminal and a straightforward example of crime. We often see murder and robbery as wrong and harm society as well as social order. However, there are times crime is not as straightforward, though and people may hesitate to call it criminal. The community I live in and many others throughout the area post signs that it is illegal to give food and other items to homeless individuals in need. Wow, I can't even imagine that. I have just so much stuff in my house to pack little gift bags and things like that. So, if one were to violate this law and give food to a homeless person, it would not involve harm to individuals, but to the social order. Adele McLean joined others in an Atlanta park to feed the hungry the Sunday before Thanksgiving and was given a citation and a summons to appear in court. Ultimately, McLean's case was dropped when she showed up in court, but she and her lawyers argued the citation for serving food without a permit was improper and demonstrates callousness towards the homeless. The city and some advocates say feeding people on the streets can hinder long-term solutions and raise sanitation concerns. Approximately 40 cities across the nation have active laws to restrict food sharing, and a few dozen more had attempted such restrictions, according to the National Coalition for the Homeless. See, where I live, we have outside food pantries where people take food that they put it in there for other people, and we don't just have one of them. They have them like at every school. I think they have them at like almost all the churches. They have them like just everywhere. There's just all these outside food pantries so that people don't have to worry about going without food and they don't care if you're homeless, they don't care who you are. You don't have to go in to sign up for it. It's just there. So people take what they need and they leave what they can. So I'm shocked that they would do something like this to the homeless people. We'll talk later about how we may create laws based on what can cause harm. Harm can be to the social order, physical, economic, social, emotional, environmental, and more, in order to ensure that people receive justice in today's society. We use the criminal justice system to administer punishment or reward, and those crimes are often punished based on morals and norms. The criminal justice system is a major social institution that is tasked with controlling crime in various ways. Police are often tasked with detecting crime and detaining individuals. Courts often educate and hand down punishments, and the correction system implements punishments and or rehabilitative efforts for people who have been found guilty of breaking the law. Criminal justice process. When the law is broken, the criminal justice system must respond in an attempt to make society whole again. The criminal justice system is made up of various agencies at different levels of government that can work independently and together, but each attempting to deal with crime. Challenges may arise when agencies do not work together or attempt to work together inefficiently. The notorious serial killer Ted Bundy was an example of U.S. law enforcement agencies not working together because of the lack of technological advancement to freely exchange information and resources about killings in their area. Bundy exploited gaps in the traditional law enforcement investigative processes through different jurisdictions and ultimately was able to avoid arrest and detection. If various agencies at the federal, state, and local law enforcement level had worked together, they could have potentially stopped Ted Bundy sooner. Following Ted Bundy, a multi-agent investigative team manual, also known as MAIT Task Force, was created through the National Institute of Justice to develop information about the crime, it causes, and how to control it. And then it gives you a link. One of the values of the United States is that local agencies will control their local community, but at times this may create unexpected complications. It says you are to create an argument for or against law enforcement agencies working together. Some countries have national police forces, whereas we do not. Be prepared to defend your position in class. Although agencies may operate differently, the way cases move through the criminal justice system is consistent. The first step after getting caught stealing something from a store is involvement with the police when law enforcement is called. The next step is the process is to proceed through the court system to determine guilt or innocent. If you are found guilty, then you will receive a sentence that will be carried out in the next step. After conviction, you move to the correctional system for formal punishment and or treatments as determined by the courts. An individual may not go through the entire process, and criminal justice officials decide whether the case should continue on or to the next stage. Perhaps the officer decides not to cite you, and your contact ends here, there. However, it may be the district attorney, DA, that decides to drop your case before it even goes to trial. Regardless, the process is typically cops, courts, and then corrections. Cops, courts. We will explore each of these in greater detail later on. Cops instead of police. I don't. Anyway, Newsbox. In 2016, more people were arrested for marijuana possession than for all crimes the FBI classifies as violent. Overall, in 2016, roughly 1.5 million people were arrested for drug-related offenses, up slightly year over year. Marijuana enforcement and criminalization goes to the heart of some of the most pressing issues facing the criminal justice system, policymakers, citizens, and the world. Is criminalizing drug use effective, especially for marijuana? Is spending money on enforcing drug laws, prosecuting drug crimes, and punishing drug offenders effective? The United States has taken a get tough approach toward the war on drugs, created mandatory minimum sentences, and punished people in large numbers, but is it effective? And see, we all have our own views on marijuana, and I don't know, because I, I don't, I'm against, I don't, some people take prescription drugs. Some people take prescription drugs for things like depression and things like that. And some people smoke marijuana for different reasons. And so, what am I to say? I don't want to put my opinion in there, and I don't want to throw my opinion of this in there because so many people disagree about it, but I don't smoke marijuana. I'm allergic to it, and I can't be around the smoke, but I still have, my opinions. Um, and this shows some, I guess they're citing. And then you can turn to the next page. And I like this book. You can share the book. And the book is free and it's online, so, which is interesting. And it's got a contents and you can download it. So, and I don't know how long it is, but, and I don't know if I would agree with the author on different things or what their opinions are of things, but we'll read some more. Why not? Nude Ultimate Frisbee. I've never heard of that. Imagine you recently moved to Oregon for work from Georgia after graduating college and hope to make new friends. Georgia has been your home forever, so Oregon is entirely new. Then one day at the dog park, you run into a guy that seems like someone you would like to hang out with, and he tells you to come out and play ultimate frisbee this weekend. You decide to take a leap and meet new people, play a new sport, and have some fun. You arrive on the field, but notice something that stands out as different to you and wonders, is this allowed in Oregon? Some women and men are naked, some fully, and some just certain parts exposed, but no one seems uncomfortable. You look around at the topless players, all adults, and wonder if this is the wrong place. Other people in costume walk around like unicorns, Mario, Rainbow Bright, among others. Suddenly thoughts start racing through your mind. Why are people dressed strangely? Is it legal to be nude in public in the state of Oregon? Why does no one seem to mind? Can I keep my clothes on? What will my family in Georgia think? Should I just go back to my apartment now? Suddenly the guy from the dog park runs up and tells you to come on over so he can introduce you to the team. Situations like this are often examples we use in college classrooms to demonstrate the difference between deviance, rule violations, and criminal violations. Sometimes there are times that behaviors that appear to be deviant are not illegal, but other times behaviors that are illegal are not deviant. Just about everyone in society has done something that someone else would disagree with and see as deviant. For example, I recently wore clothes to the gym that were out of style, but how did I know that they were out of style? Well, easy. The reaction of others to my lack of style in the gym was clear that it is no longer cool to wear knee-high socks with athletic shorts to the gym. Another time, I was at Thanksgiving dinner with my family, and I expressed open support for a politician that no one else in the family supported. Their reactions to my support of him made it evident that I was the deviant one that was not going along with the typical political views expected in my reasonably conservative Republican family. Alternate, alternative, Alternatively, perhaps I am deviant when I tell you my favorite show on television is and always will be The Golden Girls, which seems odd for someone in their early 30s. Perhaps someone thinks it's utter nonsense and crazy wasting my time watching such shows. These are just a few examples where my behavior, thoughts, actions, or beliefs may be different from those around me. From a sociological perspective, social norms are all around us and are accepted norms and behaviors that are defined within a specific group. The group you are in can change, which would mean the norms and behaviors that are acceptable at any given time may change. And I notice some people think that, they think everybody does it because the people around them all do those things. But if they changed their group of friends, they wouldn't all be doing it because it would be a different groups of friends. And they don't realize this because they think because all their friends do it, that's what everybody does. Deviance is behavior that departs from the social norm. Good argues that 4 things must happen in order for something deviant to take place or exit. 1. A rule or norm must be established. Someone has to violate that rule or norm. There must be an audience or someone that witnesses the act and judges it to be wrong. There is likely going to be negative reaction from that audience that can come in many forms: criticism, disapproval, punishment, and more. To commit an act of deviance, one does not need to violate a dangerous norm, and not all acts that are deviant are criminal. Not all criminal acts are deviant either. Deviance falls on a spectrum that can range from really deviant to not so deviant, but remember, it is dependent upon the audience. Think back to the previous comment about the show Golden Girls. My grandma would not find that as deviant as my husband does because we grew up watching it together. We spent many hours on the couch. Laughing away at the silliness of it all. So we would both agree that it's a beautiful show. Applying knowledge, and there's an assignment. Apply Good's definition of what needs to happen in order for something to be considered deviant in no less than 500 words and following the example below. Example: the awkward outfit to the gym, knee socks, athletic shorts, and an oversized Broncos t-shirt mentioned above could be deviant based on Good's definition of deviance. This attire departed from the social norm at the gym in 2018. Whether we realize it or not, some specific rules or norms are established in the gym. Sometimes we have a dress code, but other times we have to keep up with the current hip trends, such as yoga pants for women in 2018. Next, I violated that norm by my attire. Since it was a busy Monday night, lots of people saw my attire, my audience, that was able to witness my act and then judge it. Lastly, they cannot kick me out for not dressing cool, but the awkward smirks, stares, and giggles were all I needed to know that my clothes were deviant and not cool. This could certainly have not been true in 1950, 1980, or even the early 2000s. If I think back to when I started lifting over a decade ago, yoga pants were unheard of, and no one wore anything tight to the gym. Today, yoga pants are regular, and in some parts of the country for women and men. So, here's that book. If you're interested in reading it and studying it, you can find it online. So, anyway, that has stuff in it. And you can share the book if you like. So, and you can click and go. If I click on this, I'll go to the cover of the book. So let's do that. And there's the cover, Introduction to the American Justice System. And then when I go there, I can download the book, or I can read the book. So then it shows how big the book is and how many chapters are in the book. So it's pretty long. So I'm not going to read all of it. But if you're interested in it, see, and this is a shorter webpage address that you can find it at. So if you're interested, go check out the book. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Have a great day. Bye-bye.